afternoon, my friends, and welcome to Monday's edition of Take 5 to Recharge, potentially the best 5 minutes of your day. This is the Love Language edition, and I am your host, Pastor Bala. I hope you're having a good day, and by the time we finish, I pray your love tank will be back on full. Today, we are looking at love language number 2, quality time, and this is part 3. This is today's takeaway. Quality conversation requires not only sympathetic listening, but also self-revelation. When a wife says, "I wish my husband would talk," I never know what he's thinking or feeling. She is pleading for intimacy. She wants to feel close to her husband. But how can she feel close to someone whom she does not know? In order for her to feel loved, he must learn to reveal himself. If her primary love language is quality time, and her dialect is quality conversation, her emotional love tank will never be filled until he tells her his thoughts and feelings. Self-revelation does not come easy for some of us. We may have grown up in homes where the expression of thoughts and feelings was not encouraged but actually squelched. For instance, to request a toy was to receive a lecture on the sad state of family finances. The child went away feeling guilty for having the desire and quickly learned not to express his desires. When he expressed anger, the parents responded with harsh and condemning words. Thus, the child learned that expressing angry feelings is not appropriate. By the time we reach adulthood, many of us learn to deny our feelings. We are no longer in touch with our emotional selves. A wife says to her husband, "How did you feel about such and such?" The husband usually responds with, "I think," not how he felt. When he decides to learn the love language of quality conversation, it will be like learning a foreign language. The place to begin is by getting in touch with his feelings. He needs to become aware that he is an emotional creature in spite of the fact that he has denied that part of his life for a long time. If you need to learn the language of quality conversation, begin by noting the emotions you feel away from home. Carry a small notepad and several times a day ask yourself, "What emotions have I felt in the last several hours?" And then write them down. What did I feel on the way to work when the driver behind me was riding my bumper? What did I feel when I got to the office and found that the project I was working on, thinking I would have to complete it in 2 weeks, but they given me 3 days? How did I feel about that? So basically, you write down your feelings. The event was the tailgating earlier, and then you felt angry. The work project, you felt frustrated and anxious. Do this exercise a couple of times a day, and you will develop an awareness for your emotional nature. Using your notepad, communicate your emotions and events briefly with your spouse as many days in a row as possible. In a few weeks, you will become comfortable expressing your emotions with him or her. And eventually, you will feel comfortable discussing your emotion towards your spouse, your children, and events that occur within the home. Remember, emotions in and of themselves are neither good nor bad. They're simply our psychological response to the events of life. Not all of us are out of touch with our emotions, but when it comes to talking, all of us are affected by our personality. There are 2 basic personality types. The first one is called the Dead Sea. If you're not familiar with the Dead Sea, it is found in Israel. The Sea of Galilee flows into the Jordan River, and the Jordan River flows into the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea goes nowhere. It receives, but it does not give. This personality type receives many experiences, emotions, and thoughts throughout the day. They have a large reservoir where they store that information, and they are perfectly happy not to talk. If you say to a Dead Sea personality, "What's wrong? Why aren't you talking tonight?" he will probably answer, "Nothing is wrong. What makes you think something is wrong?" And that response is perfectly honest. He is content not to talk. He could travel for 3 hours and never say a word and be perfectly happy. On the other hand, you have the extreme called the babbling brook. For this personality, whatever enters the eye gate, the ear gate, comes out of the mouth gate. And there are seldom 60 seconds between the two. Whatever they see, whatever they hear, they tell. In fact, if no one is at home to talk to, they will call someone else. Do you know what I saw? Do you know what I heard? If they can't get someone on the phone, they may talk to themselves because they have no reservoir. Let's remember today's takeaway. Quality conversation requires not only sympathetic listening, but also self-revelation. Again, I thank you for joining me for another installment of Take 5 to Recharge, the Love Edition. If this segment has blessed you, please repost it. Together we are sowing the seed of love. But now faith, hope, love abides, but the greatest of these is love. Have a lovely day. See you on Wednesday at 12:15, the good Lord willing. Remember, God loves you, and so do I. God bless you.